Back in February, Tata Motors showcased a vehicle called the H5X at the Auto Expo. Now that particular vehicle stirred up a massive rouse in India, and that is primarily because it looked so good, it looked so imposing, and kudos to the Tata Motors design team led by Pratap Bose for doing a vehicle like that. The icing on the cake came when the announcement was made that that particular H5X concept was heading to production. Now what it turned out to be is what you see behind me. This is the Harrier.
The Harrier is the first product where Tata Motors has extensively used expertise from Jaguar Land Rover. The Harrier is broadly based on Land Rover's D8 platform. However, it has been modified to suit Indian conditions. We are told that high tensile steel has replaced aluminium, and the platform has also been stretched at the back to allow for a more spacious cabin. As far as the design is concerned, the Harrier is based on Tata's Impact Design 2.0 language, which has won many accolades in the past.
Now, if you look at this vehicle from the front, it has a very imposing look. And that is primarily because of this front end design. Now what you see here are the daytime running lights, which also develop as the indicators. So once you flick the indicator, this turns amber and it starts flicking. Now the other interesting bit is this. This is the entire headlamp panel, and if you notice it correctly, it sits on the front bumper. Now there are going to be notch protections and all that, looking at Indian conditions, but we are happy to report that this beam is fantastic. We've started driving at about 5 in the morning here in Jodhpur, and this was pitch black, and during these times on the highway these headlamps performed brilliantly. Apart from that, they also feature cornering lamp abilities. Also adding to the looks of the car is this grille, a nice black treatment, very little chrome in the front, but overall a very imposing front end, and I am sure that Indians will love this design.
The floating roof design also gels well and especially gives it character. The large ORVMs do give a brilliant rear view, but combined with the A-pillar, it does create a blind spot while driving. The 205 mm ground clearance is also apt for Indian conditions.
Now as you can see, there is a nice black patch in the middle and the tail lamp units sit inside. Now these are LED panels and they look really nice at night from the rear. This is the little reversing light which you see. And the other thing which I really like about the Harrier is the minimal use of badges. I mean, there is no clutter in the boot. I mean, it's such a nice design, and there is just a little Harrier out here and a chrome Tata logo, which is of course standard. Overall, I think this rear section of the Harrier reminds me of a particular Land Rover. Now which one is it? Keep guessing. Now the other thing which I like about the Harrier is the amount of space. Well, space is again something which Tata Motors have always excelled in, and the Harrier is no different. Now if I pop the boot open, you can see that there is a lot of space here. Now this particular bag is my cabin luggage, and you can see the amount of space which is still available around. If you want to increase the cargo abilities of the Harrier, you can always flip the seats forward. It's a 60-40 split, so it can accommodate more luggage and just add to the versatility of the overall vehicle. Welcome aboard the Harrier. So as you can see, it features a nice large dash out here, and I kind of like this wood treatment. It gives a nice and classy look. but what I expected was a little better quality for the plastics. Now this is a nice big screen which features touchscreen connectivity. So you've got all the features here. I'm also happy to report that Tata Motors have loaded this vehicle with a proper audio system. The speakers come from JBL and there are 9 of them. And the audio quality is really nice. Apart from that, this car also features a lot of buttons for the drive modes. Now another very interesting feature on this car is this knob out here. While this is a front wheel drive only vehicle, this is an adaptation of Land Rover's terrain response system. So you just turn the toggles and you can select wet road or rough road depending on the kind of terrain you are driving on. I also like this aircraft inspired handbrake or parking brake as they call it. Now to operate this, you press a button out here and it goes down like that, fits flush, looks very nice in this piano black, and then when you want to engage it, you pull it up, and that's how the parking brake is engaged. There's a lot of storage space also. There are a couple of cup holders out here, and then there's a nice big cubby hole here. Now this instrument panel which you see here features a mix of a digital display and an analog speedometer. Now the digital display which comes up here shows you various functions which can be operable via the steering wheel. The steering wheel too is a properly loaded one. It's got controls for your audio system out here and other functions here, which includes cruise control.
Space at the back too is best referred to as plenty, and there will be no discomfort in seating 3 on the back seat of the Harrier. Under the large hood of the Harrier resides the Kyrotech 2.0 litre turbocharged oil burner. The motor is good for 140 bhp and torque is rated at 350 Nm. The motor is mated to a 6-speed manual transmission which sends power to the front wheels only. Yes, the Harrier at the moment will come as a front-wheel drive model and will not even have an automatic version. The 2.0 litre motor starts up with a clatter which can be prominently heard within the cabin. Acceleration is brisk but not by any means blisteringly fast. However, this is an SUV we are driving, and expecting it to hammer through 0 to 100 kmph within a very few number of seconds is wrong. The savior of the day then comes in the form of the multiple drive modes that you get with this vehicle. While in eco mode, the Harrier does feel sluggish, in performance mode, the big beast does change its colors. The gearbox shifts slick, and we like the fact that it requires very little effort to shift through the cogs. The terrain response system from Land Rover has also been adapted for the Harrier, and one can switch through multiple modes here. Thanks to the adequate ground clearance and with the help of the system, the Harrier does take to off-roads with ease. It will be good to see how the AWD version fares once it's launched. The best part about the Harrier though is its ride quality. True to traits seen in most Tatas, the Harrier goes through the rough with ease. The passengers inside enjoy the view while the suspension soaks up everything else. We even sped through literally plowed roads at 80 km per hour and could barely feel anything. Quite an achievement, we must say. The steering too feels light, and one does not feel that he or she is steering a vehicle this large. Overall, the Harrier is a fantastic effort by Tata Motors. But overall, as a package too, the Harrier is brilliant. Now, all that is needed is for Tata to maintain a solid level of quality check and also offer the Harrier at an enticing price point.
We are here in the USA with this brand new Volvo S60. The car is being produced only in the USA, and probably that's why we are here to drive it just outside Hollywood, next to Los Angeles. Behind me is the Pacific Coast Highway, and it's a beautiful place to drive this beautiful car. The Volvo S60 will be produced without any diesel engines, just with a petrol engine power plant and a plug-in hybrid as well. In India, we'll be getting this, the T8, which has been engineered by Polestar, and Volvo claims it's their sportiest car up to date.
From the front, the S60 looks sporty, but the profile has got a more sedan-like appearance. The front headlights with extended Thor's hammer design headlamps and the unmistakable Volvo grille are all hallmarks that have been carried forward from the previous cars. The S60 uses the exact same tech as seen on the other SPA vehicles, including the advanced Sensus infotainment system. The driver assistance systems include many of the autonomous driving features like emergency braking and pedestrian, cycle and large animal detection. The car, like the other Volvos, can steer by itself and has adaptive cruise control that will work from a standstill. It also detects driver fatigue and road signs. The S60 still looks special on the inside and makes one feel special. The driving mode selector as well as the start-stop toggle seems to be aging rather well.
I've now been driving the Volvo S60 through the day around the hills of Los Angeles. The red car here is the T6, the 2-liter petrol, and the black car that I was driving earlier is the T8. Again, an all-wheel drive like this one with a 2-liter engine, but that's a plug-in hybrid as well. It has the engine powering the front wheels and an electric motor powering the rear wheels. The black car, the T8 that is also been engineered by Polestar. It is the sportiest Volvo, or so the Volvo engineers claim, and that will be the car that will be launched first in India. As the S60 has no diesel engine, it will be the T8 that will be the leader of the S60 range, and it will go against the 3 Series, the A4 and the Mercedes C-Class. Of course, none of them have hybrids, leave alone plug-in hybrids, so that will be a big advantage. And when the car is launched next year, it will also have the new 3 Series to compete with.
The S60 is engineered towards sportiness, and that is evident on all the variants. The engine power is linear thanks to the supercharging at the bottom end. The suspension, though taut, is not floaty, and the car handles well, with a bit of body roll. Traction at the rear helps in quick maneuverability, and the steering is also the quickest that we have seen on a Volvo. Overall, the car is still not as sporty as some of the Jaguar sedans in recent times, but provides a good mix of ride comfort and handling.
Volvo engineers claim that this will be the sportiest Volvo yet. And from my experience of driving it through the hills today, it definitely is. Of course, it helps that it's all-wheel drive as well, with the electric motor driving the rear wheels, giving it a lot of traction and go out of the corners. And the steering setup and the suspension is also very sporty, on the sporty side. The 20-inch wheels and low-profile tires, of course, help in dynamics, but for Indian roads, maybe we'll have to switch down to 19 or 18-inch wheels. Overall, this, I have to say, is a great sporty drive, and the seats and everything else as well is geared towards the sporty aspect of the car. The interiors, of course, as you can see, the screen, which is from all the other new Volvos. You can increase the map, the Bowers and Wilkins music system on the side, the infotainment system. And because this is the T8 plug-in hybrid variant, we get crystal on the gear knob. All these are crystallized as well, so it's a very pretty interior to be in, like most of the other Volvos as well.
The S60 is a good mix of sportiness and comfort. Even if the focus is on the front seats, the rear is not as bad as some of the competition. If Volvo is able to launch the S60 in India before the middle of 2019, it may have a clear run in the market for some time.
So guys, I can speak for myself when I say that whenever I've gone abroad, the first thing that always strikes me is the strongly inculcated driver discipline that people have. Now, my question to myself is always the same at a point like this. Something which is so easy to appreciate, why is it so difficult to inculcate? So today's advisory is going to be some very basic tips on how you can improve your skill and habits as a driver. So hop on. Okay, so guys, first things first, we need to start showing more mechanical sympathy towards our vehicles. And the first thing you need to stop making in order to do that is what we at AutoToday call a car fart. This sound right here, you understand that? This is what we call a car fart. Now the proper way of pulling the handbrake is to press the button, pull up the handbrake silently and then release it. You can actually flunk a whole driving test in some countries abroad for not doing this properly. Before driving, make sure all your mirrors are positioned to get proper visibility around the car. And do not touch the glass with your hands while adjusting the rear view mirror. Touching the glass implies poor car discipline. The side rear view mirrors have definite blind spots which can only become visible when you look over your shoulder. Proper maintenance of a car on a daily basis can go a long way. For example, letting the fuel pump engage before cranking. And now we're going to enlist different types of drivers with varied driving styles. So we have the gawker, the spitter, the wheel clinching anxious driver, the uber cool one hand or the gear driver, the laid back driver, and the I will do everything only when I'm driving multitasking driver. Now if you're any of these, correct yourself, please. The proper way of driving is to have your hands at the 10 and 2 position, have your back upright, and no matter how beautiful those distractions are on the sides of the roads, ensure that your eyes are always on the road. I'm Shivan Channa signing off. Drive safe.
And now for the latest buzz from the automobile world.
The UK-based Triumph motorcycle has brought back yet another name from the company's rich history of modern classic range, the all-new Triumph Speed Twin, which will be part of the Triumph Bonewell family. The new Speed Twin comes with the same 1200cc Bonewell engine from the Thruxton R. It belts out 96 bhp and 112 Nm of peak torque. Triumph will launch the new Speed Twin sometime next year. It is expected to be priced in the range of 10 to 11 lakh rupees. Rolls-Royce Cullinan, the British luxury car maker's first ever all-terrain vehicle, has been officially launched in India. It's priced at a whopping price of 6.95 crore rupees. Built on Rolls-Royce's new architecture of luxury or aluminum space frame platform, it gets the large iconic grille up front with the RR logo on top and the Spirit of Ecstasy hood ornament placed above it. It also gets the sleek LED headlamps with integrated LED daytime running lamps, with large air intakes below it and a silver skid plate at the center. At the rear, the Cullinan gets the roof-mounted spoiler, stylish vertically stacked LED tail lamps and a beefy rear bumper. Under the hood, the Cullinan sports a massive 6.75-litre V12 engine which makes around 563 bhp and 850 Nm of peak torque. The all-new Jeep Gladiator pickup truck was unveiled at the 2018 LA Auto Show earlier this week. The new Gladiator is based on the 5-door Jeep Wrangler and rides on the traditional body-on-frame chassis. The new Jeep Gladiator inherits high-strength aluminum doors, hinges, hood, fenders, windshield frame and tailgate from the Wrangler. It also gets a 5-foot-long steel bed to carry cargo. There will be 2 hardtop and 1 softtop variant available in the Gladiator range. At the heart of the new Gladiator is a 3.6 V6 Pentastar petrol engine which churns out 281 bhp and 353 Nm of peak torque. It is mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox as standard, while an 8-speed automatic is also an option.